So hello and welcome back everyone. The goal of this lab is to create all the files that are necessary to 3D print the two parts of the lamp that we created in the last lab. And to do this, we have to use a slicing software. So what you should have done already is install the Prusa Slicer. This is this window that you see over here. If you have done this and everything is loading successfully, you should see this window right here. And then what you have to do is open your Explorer, find the file where you stored your STL files. So for me, this is the mesh base STL. And then click on it and just drag and drop it in your 3D printing environment. You do this first with the base of the lamp. And next we will also load the shade of the lamp. So there they are. It is always good to position these objects as close to the center of the 3D printing platform as possible. Usually the results are better. Sometimes it can happen that when you position your objects in the corners of a 3D printer that the results are not as good. So once this is done, the location here looks pretty nice. You have to set a few parameters, and you see these parameters in the upper right corner. The first thing that we see is the print quality. So we have here a bunch of options that we can choose from, for example 0.05 millimeter up to 0.3 millimeter, and this is the layer height. So when you 3D print something, 3D printer works in layers and then builds the object up from the bottom to the top. And here you can say how thick these layers should be. And it's obvious that if you have a very, very small layer size, you get very high resolutions. The objects will look very clean and very awesome, but it will also take longer for the printer to print all of these layers, because of course you also have to print a lot of layers. The opposite is true for 0.3 millimeter, where you have significantly less layers, but of course you see a lot of staircasing. A good compromise, both in quality and in speed, is 0.2 millimeter, and this is what we're going to select right here. Then the filament that we will use is just generic PLA, so this should be selected. And the printers that we have at the IDC is the Prusa IK MK3, so you should also make sure that this printer is selected. So, and once this is all done, you can click on Slice Now. So this is now computing all of the positions where the nozzle of the 3D printer should go to layer by layer. You can also check if your print will look good, hopefully look good, by using this so to say scroll bar over here. And here you can go through each one of these layers and can check if everything looks all right. Things that you have to take care for is that the thickness of all of these elements that are relatively thin is still large enough. So you should see here at least 3 lines. If you have 1 or 2 more, this is totally fine. So when you are all happy with the slicing results, you're ready to print it with the Prusa printers. So what you have to do then is taking one of the SD cards that should be in the 3D printer, taking it out. There should also be some SD card readers lying around. Insert it into the SD card reader in your computer, and then you just have to click on Export Gcode in the lower right corner. Then look for the SD card on your system, give it a name that you will recognize. So for example, lamp print. And click on Save, and then you can take the SD card, insert it into the Prusa printer, look for the file name, and you can click on Print.